You just downloaded the show that was nominated Best Entertainment Podcast of 2013, only to be beaten by The Walking Dead.
Kick it up and run. When the whistle blows, it's on. Give it everything you got. Give it everything you got. Play, don't you ever stop.
Welcome to our special episode of Survivor Talk with D&D and really Shooting the Breeze with D&D. I'm Dwaine.
And I'm David, the guy that hasn't messed up already.
That's right. We're just two best friends talking about World Cup soccer. That's what we're talking about tonight. If you normally listen to us because you like Survivor, have no fear. I am with you. I like Survivor, and not until this past couple of weeks did I watch very much soccer. So I will be the one that is speaking for the ignorance of those in the nation. Like I'll be asking for clarifications from things. The rest of the group,
way to not
they know
call
everything.
People ignorant. Way to not call people ignorant that don't know anything about soccer.
No, ignorant means you don't know. Okay, forget it.
But don't hang up because Dwayne's not the other half of this conversation. We have some real soccer knowledge people to talk about soccer.
That's right. So before we do that, we're going to remind you to shop Amazon using our links. Go to survivortalkwithdnd.com/Amazon. And if you want to support us any other way, you can go to survivortalkwithdnd.com/support. So tonight we're talking about World Cup soccer. We have three guests joining us. First, all the way from Iceland, where the sun is still up and it's midnight as we record this, Sindri. Hello, Sindri.
Hello. Hello. I'm Sindri.
There you go.
Yes.
There's Sindri.
We'll try to
Sindri,
get some Survivor into this.
Yeah, now, Sindri, how long have you been up today?
Since 9 this morning.
All right, so you'll be tired in a few hours. There you go.
Yeah,
and from Brazil, where they take a national holiday every time the soccer team gets on the field, we have Daniel.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Doing very well, Daniel. Did you have a fun day today?
Well, I was shaking for most of it, so not really fun, but well, you know, we won, so great.
There you go. And lastly, but not least, from, I believe, Los Angeles. If I'm wrong, he'll tell me, or he'll just leave the podcast. The award-winning actor, composer, author, symphony conductor, college soccer coach, and dragon slayer, the one and only Coach Benjamin Wade.
Everybody's applauding. I can hear it out there.
Yes.
Wow.
That's right. There's so much applause going on right now. How are you doing, Coach?
I'm good. I want you to know, Sindri, that my brother today is on a plane to your country.
Wow.
Yep, he's going over there. We have this competition where we try to see who has more countries visited. I'm up to like 48, and he hates it that I'm beating him. So he's going to a country that I've never been to, and he's coming to your country today. He's flying over there for about a week.
That's a wise choice.
Maybe.
Isn't it like this is like the best time to go over there right now?
Yeah, this is a great time. You can be awake all day, 24 hours, and the sun will be shining on you the whole time.
That's awesome. I kid you not, one day, in the not-so-distant future, I will let you know, but I'm going to write a symphony about Iceland because nobody's ever written a symphony about Iceland. I'm writing symphonies on countries, and I'm going to write one on Iceland. Just letting you know that.
Nice.
Awesome.
I look forward to it.
Awesome.
So the old chimes will be playing, or the little mark tree thing will be going often.
The mark tree.
Lots of little icicle sounds.
There you go.
During the Iceland show. So basically, we're going to be talking GroupStage. We all submitted picks. We all had fun. And David is the huge soccer fan. If you listen to our show and you know that I often kid David about soccer, joke with him about stuff that I don't want to joke here because I'm afraid, the three guests might actually leave. Depends on how much they can appreciate good humor. So anyway, we're going to talk soccer, and I'm going to enjoy this podcast. But I don't know how much I'm going to have to say about it. So, David, I'm just going to go ahead and let you take over and go for it.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and knock you out of the group then. Let me delete you.
No, let's not do that.
All right, when we do our Survivor recaps every Wednesday night after an episode, our first task is to go over initial reactions. So I want to ask you three guys, what are your initial reactions, because I know you've seen more than one World Cup, of the group stage. Okay, you four guys, since Dwaine supposedly has watched some matches that take place on the pitch, not on the field. We'll get that straight now. But what are y'all's initial reactions to what we've seen so far? And Coach, you're alphabetically first, so I'll take yours first.
Wait, did you say Coach was first?
Yeah, because Daniel's after you, and then Sindri's last. And I'll stick Dwaine in there somewhere.
I'm always last.
A big screen shot of Daniel looking a little bit morose. Anyway, and by the way, feel free to defer to me and ask me questions first out of the group every time. That's great. Then I can get my 2 cents in first or last. Either one, I'm good to go with that, just like in job interviews. I want to be first or last. But I think that, when World Cup comes around, I don't watch a lot of TV. And being a college soccer coach for 17 years, I'm living and breathing, athletics every day. And so I don't watch sports on TV like I used to. It's not really, I'm not engaged in it, so I don't really watch a lot of sports on TV. Anyway, when the World Cup comes around, I record every game. I watch not every game, but pretty close to all the games. And I've spent a lot of memorable World Cups overseas. I remember I was training the St. Lucia national team one time, and it was in the 2002 World Cup, Germany-Brazil final, and I was actually at the governor's mansion, which sat up on this hill, and St. Lucia has a lot of history, and it looked out over the harbor, and I could see the cannons on the front porch and all the ships in the harbor, and it was beautiful. And I'm sitting there after having trained their national team that day. They obviously weren't in the World Cup, but we were sitting there in the governor's mansion watching the World Cup. I spent 98 World Cup in the East End of London, watching it in the pubs over there, and that was just absolutely wild. England lost to Argentina, and I had long hair, and everybody was like, don't say a word. You don't want anybody to get beat up by the hooligans. Anyway, so, I'm really into the World Cup. Obviously, I watch obsessively, and I think it's a phenomenal World Cup so far. Obviously, and David, don't hate me for this. I was pulling for Chile today because, Brazil's always on top. I do not want to see a Brazil-Germany final, something like that. I want to see different teams. The last World Cup was great because we had, in the quarterfinals and semifinals, teams that had never been there for decades and decades. So this is a great World Cup. You see upsets. Who would have thought Costa Rica was going to be anything? That was in nobody's pick. If that was in anybody's pick here on this podcast, I bow to you in your soccer excellence, because I had no idea that they were going to advance. I didn't know the Dutch were going to be that good. Everybody thought Spain was going to advance. It's cool seeing the South American teams do well. I knew that they would. Some teams are off to a big start, Germany, the Dutch. Some teams are off to a very slow start, like Brazil and Argentina, 2 teams that I thought were going to be in the finals, and they're off to a slow start. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens from this point on. This is where the real fun begins. It's just been a tune-up up till now.
All right, Daniel, what do you think?
Well, I think for sure we can say this is the most unpredictable, unexpected, craziest World Cup ever. And it's been almost 100 years, so we can have some real fun watching some of these games, and it's been a wild ride, definitely. And as you say, I'm not really sure that I'm almost positive that Brazil will not win this World Cup because we have a weak team. Let's be honest. We have a weak team, and we're not really the strongest team ever. And not really the Brazilians are pulling out for Brazil as much as they are supposed to. And I think we're not really believing in ourselves. I don't know what's going on, but I think we're more self-aware. We know that we're not on top. We know that we're not the perfect team that we should be because we're the hosts and we're the team with the most World Cup championships, and it's how can I say it? There's a baby crying and I don't know what's going on.
They were pulling for Chile. It's okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, they're pulling for Chile. I was crying too, so that's okay. I don't know. I think we can say that it's a wild, unpredictable World Cup like we've never seen. That sums it up.
Is that a common thought though in Brazil that this team, as good as it is, and it's almost like an all-star team, that they're probably not the strongest Brazilian team ever put together, so that every win and every goal is going to bring the city to its knees and joy or something? I mean, is that a common thing in Brazil this year, that you think you guys are not the best Brazilian team?
Well, not really. I mean, we always cheer up and we're always on our knees with every goal, so it's not really news because we're very festive, we're very loud, and that's okay. But I think the common thought is we're not the best and we should be the best because we're the hosts, we're at home, and we always have this feeling like our education sucks, our healthcare system sucks, but don't mess with our soccer. That's a common thought. Like,
yeah, I've watched some videos.
I'm just being honest. There's been some riots, but at the end of the day, we're all just rooting for our team and supporting no matter what, but we know that we have a very small chance of actually winning the World Cup.
Did you mention there was a bomb threat earlier today as well?
Yeah, that was a hoax. So there's
okay.
there was no. It was the federal police agency was hacked. So
gosh.
That's a common thing. That's a common thing. We don't have a very good FBI or CIA or intelligence. That's why we're third world country, but. Well,
terrible. Let me tell you why you got hacked, okay? It's because everybody in Brazil had the day off, and you had a bunch of bored people sitting around waiting for the game to start, and so they decided to hack.
Yeah, I mean, no, but that's a common thing in Brazil. I mean, Twitter is not really that protected. There's no internet surveillance, or, I mean, we have bigger concerns. So the World Cup. Bigger concern than the federal police agency.
We're probably surveilling your internet for you, so don't worry about that. Yeah. Sindri, what are your thoughts right now on this World Cup so far?
It's just been like craziness all around. It's just the passion that has gone into this World Cup. It's just so much more than the last World Cups. You know, the World Cup was in South Africa and Germany and then Asia somewhere. And it's just not the same when it's not in Brazil. And you can just feel also, you can see the difference when American teams are playing in America. Because 8 out of 10 of the American teams from either North America or South America went through. You can just, they know the humidity, they know how to play in these conditions, and you can see it. Like Costa Rica going through that group is like crazy, and it's just been like crazy. I can't even explain. It's just crazy.
All right, Dwaine, since you want to be included, what are your thoughts from the long-time soccer fan of watching this World Cup?
Okay, well, I've been enjoying it. I really have. I have talked to my son Timothy. We're both huge hockey fans, and while soccer's not as fast as hockey is, if you love hockey, then you can appreciate soccer because there's not a lot. It's not a high-scoring game, right? As you watch soccer, you are watching how they're passing and how they're setting up plays and things like that, just like you do whenever you're watching a hockey game that you don't really get to see in like football or baseball and stuff like that. So I'm enjoying the game even though there's not scoring. I think that's one reason why United States, like North Americans, they're not huge soccer fans as a general rule, except for the kids that play in the kids leagues, because it's not fast enough for them and there's not enough scoring in it. But I've been really enjoying it. Now, there's a couple of things that would help me enjoy it if I understood offsides better. I thought I understood offsides. I thought offsides was if you pass the ball to me or to anybody, and one of my players is further downfield than an opponent, when the ball is passed, then it's offsides. But that's not right, is it?
Dwayne, let me tell you right now. I'm going to give you. I'm a big hockey fan too. Offsides is like a moving blue line. Okay, so the last defender back is always going to be the blue line essentially. And when the ball is touched, if the defender is on the not the goal side, but opposite from the goal side, and so if he's not quite past the defender yet, that moving blue line, usually the center back, as the ball is touched, then he's on sides, and so it might look like he's 10 yards behind that defender by the time he receives the ball,
Right.
but it's when the ball is kicked.
Okay. Okay,
yeah,
good.
Yeah, the rule is you can't be closer to the goal than the last two defenders, and one of those last two defenders is always going to be most likely the goalie. So it's basically the last defender that's running the pitch. Like when Clint Dempsey scored, he was past the guy between him and the ball, but there was a guy behind him on the ground that basically kept him on side. And like Coach said, by the time the ball got to Dempsey, he was past everybody, but he was on that blue line when the ball was passed. And that's the trick, is when the ball is touched by the passer, where is the guy? And that's what the AR on the sideline is supposed to be watching. Where is he past them or not? And that could just be your arm. If your arm gets past that last defender, you could be called offsides. It doesn't take a whole lot.
Which I like, because you can time it where you can run past the defender.
Exactly.
You know, and it makes for really great, you know, what I would call a runaway player or whatever.
Yeah.
A fast attack or something. But another thing that I have trouble with is in soccer, I feel like you've got the two line judges, and then you got one guy that's like covering 120 yards of play. Right, so you got your line judge that has to watch the ball being kicked in his peripheral vision while he makes sure they're not offsides. But man, they miss so many calls because they don't have enough refs on the pitch, right? Don't they?
Should we add more football referees, more basketball referees? I think there's too many basketball referees. Every time they blow in each other's ear, there's a foul. No. I think the reason soccer only has one referee on the pitch is because one person makes a decision faster than two. I coach sometimes at the high school level and then the showcase level, and we get these two referee systems because one is late, and I hate them because they look at each other when the foul occurs, and they look at each other and say, "Are you going to call it?" And if that guy doesn't call it, the other guy doesn't call it, the play's already gone down the field and it's missed. Awesome. I hate the two-man system. I mean, it's out there. I like the one official, especially when it's Howard Webb, and you got the two ARs, which is how it's supposed to be.
Right.
But you want one person making that call. But if you look at the center ref, a lot of times he will immediately look to his AR for confirmation or the actual call.
Okay.
They don't always see the headers go in the corners, so they look to the AR on the sidelines.
Yeah.
But two referees would cause more problems than not. Sorry.
I've been enjoying watching it, and those are just a couple questions that I had. I also want to know why it's called a pitch and not a field, which I'm sure someone will tell me in a minute. But another thing about this World Cup is I've noticed that maybe it was just me, but it seemed like everybody, once USA almost won and they got tied like in the last 15 seconds, that the whole North America decided that they were going to watch soccer. Which always annoys me. You know? That kind of annoys me whenever that kind of happens.
Yeah.
I was glad they did, but...
It's the same reason why people that are beginning soccer fans always say, "Oh, we love Brazil just because they're winners." When people used to love the Cowboys,
right.
It's the same kind of things. I'm sure everybody's going to love the Kings now. The LA Kings, now Kings fans wearing Kings jersey. I hate those fickle fans.
Yes. Yeah. So now now you got CNN doing stories and showing the families watching and all this kind of stuff.
See, that's what I'm wondering. If it had ended with the Portugal game, where would the news be following the USA team?
Right.
I mean, I'm glad we're following it. I'm glad it's all over the place. I just wish people wouldn't demean a sport that millions and billions of people love because they don't know the sport.
Right.
And they're talking about ties and people not playing to their full strength. And in fact, I think there's a lot of goals this World Cup, which I think is making it great. Unfortunately for Spain, there was a whole lot against them. But what I like, what I get out of the group stage is, and what I don't think a lot of people get, to me, and this is my opinion, the group stage is not about winning 3 games. It's about surviving a small tournament. It's basically what it is. Especially, as far as I'm concerned, Germany, they didn't want to tie the USA. They wanted to beat the USA. However, they wanted everybody to come off the pitch without an injury and people to come off the pitch without yellow cards because they know they're going on. If to be honest, if USA scored, Germany would have said, okay, we're going to score now, and we're probably going to score a second one, because to me that's how good they are. But getting through the group stage has a lot to do with the coach, and a lot of coaches don't get enough credit for surviving the group stage, which to me is like the hardest part. It's not about getting 9 points, 3 points for every win. It's about surviving that group and moving on. Now they're at the point where it's one and done. Now is where the point where the guys got to kick it in gear every game, and you saw an incredible game today with Brazil and Chile. that just blew my socks off. I mean, and it was only 1-1, but gosh, it was such a good game to go back and forth the way it did.
Nail biting.
Absolutely.
So if I heard you correct, you think that Germany basically gave the tie, that they could have won if they wanted.
They did win. They won 1-0.
I'm sorry, that they could have. That if you're basically saying that Germany is better than USA, and they just kind of played with us.
I think Germany played enough not to lose, but in the end, they were not going to tie. I think they wanted to win. They wanted to go out with a win because they only had one win. They had a tie. Ghana gave them everything they had, and that showed where Germany had some weaknesses. But I don't think Germany played with us. I think they just kept the game even until the moment came up for them to score. And it's not that we gave them that moment. They took it. That was an incredible shot that Mueller made. But they weren't going to just sit back and let it be a tie, and just safely go home. They were going to try and, be smart about it. But at the same time, they were not going to just let it go easy. I mean, to me, they were going to score eventually. But speaking of the group stage, what team, I want to ask each of you guys, what team surprised you? I mean, Coach has already mentioned Costa Rica or Sindri did. What team surprised you in this group stage? Anybody that wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Sindri.
I actually... Algeria played 3 great games, even against Belgium. They just got really unlucky with you could see the fatigue. They just didn't have any energy in the end of the game against Belgium, but the rest of the games were great. Also Costa Rica, that surprised everyone. And those are Mexico also. They were terrible in the qualifying rounds. They almost didn't get to the World Cup and North America qualifiers are not the hardest ones. If Honduras gets through, then it's not hard to get through. But Mexico played great, and they, I think they can really give the Netherlands real trouble, and I think they have real big chance against them. Those are my picks for. I think those are the most.
All right, Coach. Coach, who surprised you in the group stage?
Besides the ones that I already mentioned, since you're throwing out Algeria, Sindri, I'll say that I was impressed with. It was very disheartening to watch Iran. It was a beautiful photographic moment. I actually rewound it so I could show my wife. They played a great game above and beyond what they were capable of. They were holding Argentina, to a draw. Messi in the last minute took it, and as you watch the shot go in slow motion, the cameraman was framing an Iranian defender sinking to his knees with his hands on his head as the shot curled into the top left corner. So I thought, it was sad just because I thought that took the wind out of their sails. It would have been neat to see them tie in that third game for them to have a chance to win it. So I like them. I also thought Australia showed some moxie. I've got a couple of Australians on my soccer team at Lake Tahoe, and I was talking to them. They really made their country proud because they came in total underdogs. Nobody expected them to play any type of football at all, and they did really well. So I'll throw those two out, as well as the normal ones that we mentioned already.
Daniel, what about you?
Well, I think Iran surprised me a lot. Mexico, I did not expect them to be so strong. I mean, they were quick on the field, and they were awesome. I think they were gonna beat us if it came down to more. I think 15 more minutes. I think they would have beat us. And I think Bosnia and Herzegovina. I really did like that game because I was rooting for them against Argentina. But I think they could have done better if I don't know that first goal against them was really settled them down. But they kept fighting. And the Latin teams were really strong this World Cup. I mean, they came to win, and they came to show that it doesn't matter if you're a traditional team or if you came from basically nowhere. They came here to play and in equal conditions. They came here to make a statement, and that's, I think, Netherlands also did that. I was very surprised that game against Spain. I did not see that coming because Spain was an all-star team. Spain was a real all-star team. I mean, they were the previous world champions. They were amazing, and no one saw that coming. I mean, they pulled out from, I don't know. That was pretty impressive. I mean, that's Netherlands and Germany. I haven't really seen so much from Germany. They're pretty strong, but it's usually it doesn't really. It surprised me, but not that much.
Yeah. I'm one of the people that did not pick Mexico because I thought that they would still be playing the way they did in the qualifiers, which if it wasn't for Graham Susie, they wouldn't be there, with him and getting that goal in the Panama game. But I did not, and to answer your question, nobody in this group or even anybody that submitted picks picked Costa Rica to move on. So that y'all mentioned that earlier, nobody picked them.
You would be crazy.
Yeah, but I was. I also like
me.
I even Belgium, which a lot of people picked to win their group, they were really stacked with a lot of good players, and I didn't expect them. I thought they did okay, but I actually thought they did better than I thought they would. I thought they would get better as the games went along, which I think is what Argentina's doing. But Belgium, then again, their group I didn't think was that difficult. It was not exactly a group of death. But they definitely came through that group. But I was really impressed with France because after what happened last time, really because I'm a Man U fan, so I followed the Man U players and whatever went through last time with the coach and the players and the captains. I'm like, France is like, hey, forget what happened last time. We are here to run you off the pitch, and we're going to do it and Benzema is awesome. He's just
That's because they kicked out the bad apples.
Exactly.
Samir Nasri. They didn't take him because he's bad for the training room. And
imagine if they had Ribery back. I mean, he's sitting on the sidelines right now, so he's not even playing. And I think that's also, when you talk about apples, happened to Mexico in that they changed their coach. They got a local coach who knows a lot of the Mexican players, and he's awesome on the sidelines. I love that. That's me without a tie. I mean, I don't wear a tie on the sidelines, but I'm similar to that. I just love his excitement. But those guys are playing with nothing but heart. I mean, you are not going to run Mexico off the pitch. You can outplay them, you can outjump them, you can maybe shoot harder, but you're not going to outwork them on the pitch. Mexico is playing with so much heart. And Daniel brought up a point about Latin teams coming to play. It's an interesting fact that no team off the continent of South America has ever won a World Cup in South America. Uruguay's won twice, and Argentina's won twice. So the four that have been there, no team outside of South America has ever won in South America. So
do you think that's because of the heat and the humidity?
Could be. It could be.
That's probably a lot of it. That's. I have played soccer all my life, and I have just a hard time playing in. I don't know what it's in your terms, but 20 degrees Celsius. Mm-hmm. And with the air in Iceland, which is great. So I wouldn't even be able to walk in the weather there in Brazil. I would die.
That's what I wonder if it happened to the USA team. It seemed like.
What happened, David? Did you go away? David,
we're getting worn out in our first game. We put down to Florida. What, did I blank out?
It's all right.
We just heard Florida.
Yeah.
No, I was just wondering if that's something that happened to the United States in the first match, because we were up here in the States until like the week before the Cup started. And even my daughter's like, why weren't we in Brazil for the 2 weeks before, walking around, getting trained and working out in Brazil, getting used to the air and stuff? It just seemed like But you even look at the game today, though. You look at Brazil and Chile, and at the end of the game, they were all falling over. They were all cramping up. And that's, to me, was the key to that game, that those guys were giving it everything they had.
Oh, well, yeah, so like I didn't even know this was part of soccer or football, that the ref in a game the other day called a water break. I've never seen that before. Has that ever happened in a World Cup?
No, that's a new rule for this one because of the humidity. There's a new rule. If the conditions are so bad and the players are getting so tired, the ref can call a water break, but they have also just let them drink water when someone's injured or they're taking long goal kicks.
So that's not something that like happens out at the park or
no.
Oh, it does. It happens in certain
Ah,
games.
well.
If you're playing in very bad heat or something, it's a tournament rule. They do it for the good of the game, for the safety of the players. They'll do water breaks. It's usually up to the referee. If he sees a lot of kids that are hurting or tired, he might do that. I mean, it's about the kids. It's not about the game so much. It's about the kids playing the game and being safe.
Right.
Yeah,
So-
but usually they don't do that. And here in Brazil, they usually don't do that. They don't take water breaks. But I think it's because we're used to it. But I think also the 11 teams are coming to play because you have no idea how's the atmosphere here. It's crazy. It's a big world party, and they just want to join. You can see it in the street. You can see it everywhere that the Latin team, the Latin American community, wants to join this party, and I think that's the motivation that they have.
Cool.
Yes.
So hey, Coach, whenever you're watching the matches, is soccer such that you can recognize like a play coming? Do you recognize certain plays? Do you recognize certain defense setups? Is soccer the kind of sport where you can recognize these things? Kind of like when you're watching basketball, you can tell what they're about to do.
Short answer, yes. I got my guys together before we broke for the summer. We're on the quarter system at Lake Tahoe, so we had this soccer class that we had until June 23rd, this last Monday, and I got them together on Monday and told them to get ready for the next season. We start preseason training August 1st. It's a soccer conditioning class. Anyway, I'm talking to the guys, and I said, listen, they're all international kids, a couple of locals, and I just told them, we got France, Germany, England, Ireland, Scotland, Australia, Brazil. We've got all those people that are playing. And I said, look, I know you're all watching the World Cup. You're watching every game. But the same things that I'm telling you to do when you're watching it, if you see bad football, it's bad football. But sometimes you guys emulate that. I encourage the guys to watch the games from now on, not as a fan, not as a player, but as a coach. And when I watch soccer games, the World Cup included, I'm always watching off the ball. I'm watching to see, like Chile, they played a 5-3-2 formation today. They played with 3 center backs, 2 wing backs, 3 center mids, and 2 strikers. And it's a formation that I've coached. I love the tactical part of the game. I run 6 different formations the first 2 weeks of soccer training camp, and I just love studying that part of the game. It goes back to '99 when I was working with the Cameroon national team, and they were the year before they won the Olympics, and we were out at this bar in the middle of the jungle, and we were moving salt shakers and sugar packets to emulate the 3-5-2 that they were going to play.
Right.
Anyway, I told the guys, watch as a coach, because you watch off the ball, you study the formations, you see what is good football, and that's what I want you to emulate. So you see plays develop, and you see players making runs off the ball. That's what really excites me about watching the World Cup, to see all these different styles, different players, and different formations, and just to watch how they play it. It's great, just great football knowledge to watch all these games and see the diversity. When you're watching the English Premier League, it's fun. It's the best players in the world usually, but it becomes a little bit one-sided, and they tend to play, a lot of them, the same way. Not all, but a lot of them, they play the same way. And so this is great because you just see such a diverse amount of styles.
Right.
Yeah, my cable provider this year started showing La Liga on another channel, which I found halfway through the season. It drove me nuts that I didn't find it till then. And it is a drastic difference in some points to watch how teams play, with the runs that they make. I know what you're talking about, though, Coach. In the middle of tournaments, I've had those same conversations with French fries on a table, moving them back and forth and spreading them out and telling people where they'd be. And I love that. But what I always tell my girls is the most important player on the field is who, and they know the answer, and it's the person without the ball.
Yep.
It's not one person. It's the 10 people that support that one person, and everybody does. And Dwaine, for you and other people that don't watch a lot of soccer, it's really fun if you find somebody that you like and watch how they play, watch where they run, watch how they support, watch where they stand. To me, that's the beauty of soccer. It's a team sport. It's not a one-person sport. I mean, there's a lot of people giving great efforts like Messi's been doing, but it's a team sport, and it's a work of art to watch these 10 guys, 11 guys work together and support each other. Some guys will run, and you think, why is he running? He's not getting the ball. Well, he's serving a purpose. He's a distraction. He's a decoy. He's doing something to cause something to happen on the other side of the field. And that's the great thing about soccer. It is a whole field game. It's not just one person in the ball.
Well, see, that's kind of where I was getting at, because as I watch soccer, what helps me to enjoy it more is I try to figure out what they're doing, and I try to figure out what the defense is doing, and I try to figure out what the play is going to be, because otherwise it's just a guy running down the field with the ball. And if you watch soccer like it's just a guy running down the field with the ball and they never score, then you're missing it. So I have found it more entertaining to notice, okay, this guy, kicks it back three back to half field or half pitch, whatever you call it, as the rest of the guys set up. So I as a fan, I watch it from that perspective. So I figured y'all as coaches definitely see certain things going on and can kind of say, oh boy, here it comes type of stuff going on.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's also like when I coach at the academy, the little kids, basically I tell them to help them understand soccer is keep away with goals. That's all it is. You're just playing keep away from this end to that end, and there's goals at the end that you get to shoot at, which is really neat. but something you're going to see as this tournament goes along is people like Neymar and Messi and even James Rodriguez today for Colombia. Gosh, that guy's awesome.
Oh, my God.
You're going to start seeing, especially with Neymar, you saw it today actually, when they get the ball, watch how many of the other shirts come at him. It's not 1v1. Neymar was facing 3 guys a lot today. And that just should, and it's a matter of, as a coach, I'm saying, why did he hold the ball that long? He knows he's good. He's going to try to get through him. But, Hulk is over there running, getting ready to smash the ball into the net. He wants the ball. And you see the little frustration. It's kind of neat to see the guys. They're looking at each other like, and the other one's going, sorry, I know you were there. I thought I could do it. You see a lot of that, especially in guys that have respect for, what I love, to me, and this is what I teach my girls is, you better not celebrate that goal. The first thing you better do is go find the person that gave you the ball, because it is a team sport. If you score, the whole team scores. And I love when guys don't get the pass, but they turn around and thumbs up to the guy that made it. And all that's saying is keep doing that. I will get to it. Keep doing that great play you just did. And that I love that about soccer. The sportsmanship within the teams with each other. I love when they support each
other. Do you get credit for an assist like you do in hockey?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a whole statistic in itself. The assists, you have assists kings and stuff like that.
Right. Cool.
Yes.
So are the big names? David's frozen, so I'm going to ask you: are the big names doing as they are expected to do? I mean, are there any big names that are like really blowing it, and it's like, why are you even there? Or is everybody pretty much performing as you expected?
There are
no one's delivering.
There are big players that look like they're delivering, like Messi, but he really is just popping up at the right time, and then he just sits on the pitch and waits for the next right time. You can't, if you're watching a game with Argentina, you don't see him until he scores a goal. I have tried to I've tried to see him, but he is always somewhere out of picture, just walking and just waiting until he can kick it into the goal. Also, Diego Costa for Spain. He was one of the best goal scorers in the world last season, and he was terrible. And that also shows what being a unified team has mattered in this cup, because Spain just weren't unified. And he just wasn't a part of the play. He didn't know what to do. He couldn't pass to the other players. He wasn't used to playing with them. And I think it was a mistake from Del Bosque to let Diogo Costa play when he had played like 2 games before that.
Yeah, because he went out of the Champions League like 10 minutes in, I think, because of his injury.
Yeah. They also, Atletico Madrid played terribly when they were always playing him when he was injured. They were always putting him on, and he was just damaged after the season. He couldn't run more. He was done. And Del Bosque should have seen that.
Mm-hmm.
How about you, Coach?
I couldn't agree more. I was going to say something, about Spain, but really everybody else is, kind of living up to their hype. Suarez was doing his business before he decided to bite, and I mean, he was. I mean, he looked great, and like Sindri said, Messi, you don't really see him until he scores a goal. So the big name people are doing the business. I'd like to see more out of Bradley. I expect more from him on the U.S. team. I don't know if anybody's heard if Altidore is starting on Tuesday, but we want to see the big names do big stuff. And at the moment, maybe another one. Rooney in England, they were really a disappointment. I really expected more from them. We always expect more from them. Their whole youth system over there is not run correctly. I've worked with the Olympic in California and the United States, and it's totally different. Hey, the U.S., you have to remember that with the U.S., the soccer players on the field, those are not the best athletes in the U.S. Those are not the second best athletes in the U.S. Don't hate me for saying this, but the best athletes, I'm just speaking in general terms, and we know this, the best athletes are going to go to football, they're going to go to baseball, they're going to go to basketball, and then that fourth tier is but our youth system is great, and so you see America getting better and better on that world scene, and hopefully some of the better athletes. I mean, I'd love to see Shaquille O'Neal as a goalkeeper. I'd love to see Kobe Bryant. Really, I'd love to see those guys. What would have Wayne Gretzky have been to Canada if he would have been, a soccer player? So I'm off on that tangent, but I will just say that our youth system is good here. The English youth program is terrible. The English Premier League allows everybody from outside of America. They should limit. Outside of England, they should limit who they have come in to England for the EPL. They should have, like 5 internationals come and have more English players playing at that top level. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent there. But I think that, the big players across the board are doing what they should be doing, except for maybe with Brazil. I think that, they had 10 goals today. 10, they should have scored 10 today, without question. Got the chances. People were wide open, getting free in the 18, and they were not capitalizing on their chances. So maybe some of their stars, the Hulk, that's one of the guys. I mean, the Hulk a couple of times couldn't even flick the ball on with his head when he went up and tried.
Yeah.
You could just see the stress in their eyes. They were so stressed, and you can just see that they had a whole country on their shoulders, and if they would have lost, the whole country would have collapsed on them. They would probably have to flee the country.
Yep. He would.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I think there's some players that are living up. I wasn't really buying into the England thing because to me they look like an all-star team who expected to play well together, and they looked like an all-star team that just got together last week and started practicing, and it just didn't flow. And I wonder if some teams have an advantage if they know each other better from playing more together. Because EPL just wrapped up a little while ago, and now these guys are out there running for England, and they're just not doing so much. But I mean,
all adversaries.
Exactly. They have to come together once every 4 years to do this, or whenever they do international games and play together, and they respect each other. But at the same time, it's not like club ball. It's not like the team that puts the food on my plate, and puts the roof over my head. But that's why I love the Champions League, and the Champions League is so great. But still, you're playing for country, and that's what I love about teams like Mexico and Chile and Costa Rica coming out there and just playing for the flag. They want to wear it on their backs, and they'll do whatever it takes to get there. And maybe that's why Mexico's doing well, because they didn't come in with the hype of so many great players. To me, one of their better players is sitting on the bench. And, we're messaging during the game, and I'm saying, put Chicharito in. He's going to get a goal, and he contributes to 2 and scores the 3rd. And then today we're talking about Neymar, and I said, hey, is Neymar still in the second half? Because I never even saw him. No. But in the first half, you saw his speed. Man. You really saw Neymar in the first half, and his speed was incredible. He was making these runs, and all of a sudden Chile adjusted. And that's the coach's job at halftime. He made a great moves, and he started moving guys, and he started playing different ways, and they shut down Neymar. And then Hulk is kicking him to the stands. So, I mean, they didn't have to worry about him as much. Everything he did, put it up in some other city.
Chile just out-muscled Neymar. He couldn't even move. They were always just 3 players. He couldn't. They were always just.
It's funny because Neymar was this like 6 foot pencil, and Chile was these little 5'8" muscles.
Yeah.
And that's what I was saying. Just cross the ball to Joe. Joe's like 7 feet tall. Get the ball. Let him hit the ball.
He didn't get the ball.
Muscles.
Did he even?
He missed the goal. He missed the goal. Like he was like 5 feet away from the goal, and he shot.
Yeah.
That was horrible. Like, and the thing about Neymar is that when people are on him, when they're onto him, like he doesn't work. He doesn't function, and that's his biggest flaw. He doesn't function when he's under pressure, under that physical pressure. So I think they kind of took advantage of it, because if you look at the game very well, the first 20 minutes he wasn't really getting that much pressure, so he kind of could work around the field, and he could perform a little bit better. But once they did the goal, and that's one thing I hate about the national team of Brazil, is you don't they get comfortable when they score, and they think, okay, this is over. It's not over. You always have to play like it's a tie, and that you have to win. It's cutthroat like that. But I think that's their biggest flaw.
Yeah, you're exactly right, because the Chile goal came from a mistake. That was exactly right. They let their defenses down. It was a bad pass, and Sanchez made him pay.
A stupid mistake.
Yeah.
It was a stupid mistake.
Don't you Brazilians wish that Luis Fabiano was like 4 years younger? Then you would have like a complete team. Because you don't have a target man. You don't have a target man. You just have like wingers, and you have defensive midfielders, and then you have Oscar. It's just you don't really have anyone to pass the ball to score. Yeah, they don't have that. They don't have anyone to pass the final ball to.
Wasn't that supposed to be Fred? I thought that was Fred.
Yeah, but he's
supposed to be Fred,
he's crap.
It's just not working.
You know, you can't go from playing in Brazil for your whole life and then go into the World Cup and expect to score 5,000 goals. You know, Fred has flunked every single club he has been on in Europe. Then he needed to end up in Brazil, and there he scores. Also with Joe, he was bought for like £30 million to Manchester City, and he was shit. Then he went back. Oh, sorry for my language. And then he went back to Brazil, and there he scores goals. It's not hard to score goals in Brazil because they're all attacking. But in this World Cup, there are so many teams who are playing such great defense, and the Brazil just can't handle it.
Yeah, and the thing about Brazil is the defense is actually getting better than the attack, because we have great players in the defense, and Hulk and other players, other forward players. They're doing some of the defense too, because they're just not cohesive. They're just not oriented. They don't have a common ground. They just don't have where to go, so they just kind of run and ramble and kick the ball and hope it works, but it's just not functioning as well as it's supposed to function. So
I think that's something we're going to see more of in the knockout stage, is the defense side, and somebody that I think does that very well is Germany. Yeah. We kind of covered our disappointing teams, I think, in the last conversation. My other question was, who is your MVP of the group stage? And for me, it was Philip Lahm, because the guy plays left back all year, and then suddenly they say, hey, we need you to go into the middle and make more passes than anybody else on the team.
He actually
run more distance. I mean, and have the highest percentage, and that's all the guy does. He's this little guy that runs as hard as anybody, passes better than most everybody, and just plays his heart out from line to line.
It's so funny. He looks like he should be working in IT or something, but he's like a small, clumsy guy. But then he goes on the pitch and he's like a magic man. He can pass the ball like nobody else. He's better than Safi. He's better. Yeah. He's better than any Spain player in passing the ball. He's excellent.
Well, there's a reason he's got that little armband on his arm. It's respect, and it's practice effort, and it's leadership, and the guy's earned it, and the guy plays like it. I'm just so impressed by the little guy. He's one of my favorite players. Who did y'all have for most valuable player coming from the group stage?
That's hard. I don't think it's fair to choose one, because there were so many good players this season, this World Cup. So I think I should go with Van Persie and with Müller from Germany too.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, their goals were amazing. Like that was solid. That was pretty good. They did a pretty good game. So I think I'm gonna go with Van Persie and Müller.
Yeah. I actually think Marquez, the center back from Mexico, he's 35 years old, and he was everywhere on the pitch. I can't even run half what he's running, and he's 35. He's in the midfield. He's the center back who goes to the midfield also. He's the playmaker, and he's the sweeper. It's crazy.
He's a captain too, right?
Yeah, and he's the captain. He scored the goal that got them through.
Right.
So he is Mexico to its core. I also think just Messi, all his goals got Argentina through. Argentina didn't play well, and even though Messi didn't play well, at least he popped up at the right time. And then it's just the base, like James Rodriguez was amazing for Colombia,
Yes.
and Slimani for Algeria. Slimani.
Yeah.
He had assists, he had goals, he was always that physical presence they needed in front, and they wouldn't have scored any of their goals without him.
Coach, who would you say was the best players in the group stage?
We've mentioned all of them. I was going to say my favorite was Rodriguez. You know, getting a score, getting a goal each of the first 3 games, getting 2 goals back to back in the first half today. So he would have been my pick. You know, he really, yeah, it was pretty awesome to watch. No yellow cards, no red cards, and just a class act. And kind of the opposite of Suarez, who was great. I would have said him, you know, early on. So, but the others have all been mentioned.
That's a shame too, because I think Suarez is a great player. He's one of those guys that finds himself in the right place at the right time. He makes goals out of nothing, and that's why there was no way I was picking Uruguay today to beat Colombia when he was out of the game. I just didn't give him a chance.
They didn't have any player to win the game for them.
Why is he biting people? The guy's
He's crazy.
Ask Mike Tyson. I don't know what it is in these guys' minds that they resort to that. I mean, if I would think of punching, kicking, maybe headbutting like Zidane, if I were just that out of control angry, I would never ever think of biting somebody or clawing somebody. Not that he didn't do that, but I'm just saying like those two things that just never crossed my mind.
right.
I ever do in any circumstance.
I actually read a great article that just said that because he comes from a very, very poor town in Uruguay, he didn't have enough money for boots. He needed to work cleaning the streets, and he needed a career in football to just have the life he wanted. So every time he sees a loss, every time he feels like he's losing or his team is losing, he feels like he has to go back to his old life, and he just has that. He needs to win, or he just goes back to the way he was. That's his.
When he was 3. So when he was 3, biting people.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's just psychological issues. You can't. It's just.
Yeah.
The things that go on in people's head, you can't really. A person that does that, there's just something wrong, and it's hard to speculate.
Yeah, my girls asked me after last World Cup when Suarez handballed in front of the goal to stop that ball going in when they were playing.
Ghana.
Was it Ghana? And
Yes.
one of my girls asked me, because I have certain punishments for certain things, like language, you come off the pitch. You know, different things, you come off the pitch. And she said, what would you have done if one of us had done that handball that he did? I said, well, after you got red carded and came off the pitch, I probably would have hugged you. Because you didn't hurt anybody. You did something blatantly wrong. At the same time, you did something for your team. You took yourself off the pitch and you did something for your team, and you made them earn it a different way. I did not have a problem with his move to handball and save that goal. Absolutely.
That's part of the game.
What you got to do to win. It's part of the game, just like unfortunately diving sometimes is part of the game. But I shocked her. She said, "You would have hugged me?" I'm like, "Yeah." I mean, make them earn. And fortunately for Suarez, the guy missed the PK and they went on. But at the same time, the biting, I'm like Dwaine. I just don't get that either. You know, where does that? Unless you just explained it right, I mean, I just don't get where that comes from.
That's also that's why I can't understand when people are like, why did he get such a long ban but not someone who breaks someone's foot with a tackle? Because a tackle is a part of the game.
right.
You need to tackle to play football. You don't need to eat people to play soccer. I know you maybe were hungry and wanted some Italian food, but that is not the answer. Wait until the final whistle, and then you can go and eat your spaghetti. Don't eat Cavini.
He's been waiting to bring that up the whole time. Good job, sir.
That was awesome. That was
I needed
awesome.
to be the first one to mention that.
That's awesome. I would like to, before I forget it, you know, I'm 42 years old now. Thank goodness I have a much hotter, younger wife.
Yes,
you know,
obviously.
I'm 42, so I might forget it. But somebody said something about the origin of the word pitch, which I know, and I got to sneak it in there before I have to sign off. Can I please expound on that right now?
Yes, please.
So it's an English word. I know this just from being in England so much. It actually goes back to cricket, and then it was translated over to soccer. But it used to be it's just like a patch of ground, and it comes from pitching a tent. So you'd like nail a stake in the ground, and when they used to do soccer games in the old days, they would put little stakes in the corners so that they would know where the boundaries are. Mm-hmm. And cricket, they would nail the little stumps. They would call it pitching the stump when they would nail those two wet wickets or whatever they call up. So anyways, I had to expound on that for a little bit since I did know the answer.
Thank you. I hadn't had a chance to ask it again.
Also, to clarify for Dwaine, boots are what we call cleats. You know, he wasn't referring to his little boots, rain boots, when he was a boy. He was talking about his soccer shoes.
Okay, I'm not even going to ask why that.
Well, Sindri brought up boots. Didn't have enough money
that's
for
okay.
boots.
It's also hard for us to say soccer instead of football.
That's
have
fine.
like your.
I can say football if you'd like. So
it's okay.
So far,
I live in America.
not counting knockout, not counting the 2 matches today, what's been the best match of the group, Coach?
Oh man, putting me on the spot first. You know what? I gotta say, I hate to say USA, Germany. I thought it was great because it's first time. Please don't hate me, America. It was the first time that I really got behind the American way of playing soccer. I hate, pass, kick the ball long, hope and hit it and hope. And we did 2 World Cups ago. We were flicking balls on, and that was like our only strategy. Jurgen Klinsmann is a tactician. He's from Germany. He's got us playing a great style. In the first half of that match, I mean, I was so into it. It was so amazing just for an American to be so proud of the U.S. national team for the style that they played. Forget about the score, but the style that they played. And when they played Portugal too, it was a lot of 1-2 touch, and I love that kind of soccer. So to watch us play like that against Portugal, 2 bad mistakes, 2 stupid mistakes, 2 rookie mistakes that you wouldn't expect out of a U16 quality team. To watch us do that to result in 2 goals, poor marking on the backside and a poor clearance. Okay, so we made those 2 mistakes, played a pretty good game against Germany. I was very, very impressed with how they played. So I'd say that game.
I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it because I thought one thing America didn't do enough was play wide. And I thought we played too much in the middle of the pitch, and both of our goals came from wide play. And it seemed like and that's Klinsmann to me, that what he's trying to incorporate. And, America, don't expect him to turn it around in the first World Cup. He needs time. But whenever we went wide with the ball and used the width of the pitch, I just thought we did so much better. Because in the middle, we were passing twice and losing the ball. And that's about as far as we were getting. I loved it when they went wide. I preached that to my girls, and I thought that was part of the game that turned around for us.
It's also hard when your wide players aren't even used to being like having German Jones. He's not a wide player. He's a defensive midfielder. But they're always playing him on the. You need to have real wingers, and Klinsmann is just trying to first and foremost have the defense, and that's all that matters for a team that doesn't really have the attackers to win a great game. And it was fantastic that they got out of the group.
And I don't think any of these 4 U.S. defenders were playing 4 years ago in the World Cup.
No.
I'm pretty sure it's the back line.
I think none of them played then.
Yeah.
No.
Daniel, what was your favorite game?
Oh, sorry. Am I?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. I like the first one. I like Brazil and
Croatia.
Brazil and Croatia.
Yeah.
I like the first Germany and just
Portugal.
okay. Here you go.
There you go.
I like Germany and Portugal, and I like USA and Ghana. I think that group was the best. That was balanced. I really like that. And what was the other one? I don't remember it right now. I think it was Uruguay and Costa Rica. That was a really good game too.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sindri, what was your favorite group stage game?
It's so hard to pick. This group stage was so crazy, but Just the shock of Spain, Netherlands. It was just so shocking to see it happen. You couldn't believe your eyes that Spain, the team who have won the last 2 European Cups and the last World Cup, I haven't even watched the national tournament without them winning. My first tournament was Euro 2008, and they have won every tournament since. Also, I really liked Korea against Algeria. The 4-2 victory for Algeria. It was just such an open game, and it was just crazy. And I almost didn't watch the game because there were so small teams, but I ended up watching, and it really surprised me.
I'm a Man United fan, so this was weeks, or less than 2 weeks probably after we signed Van Gaal, and I really want to see Netherlands. I want to see how they're going to play, and my assistant coach is a Barcelona freak. He loves everything about them and wants to coach the girls that way. And I understand the tiki-taki style and the possession style, own 90% of the game, which doesn't equate to a win. And like Coach was saying a minute ago about kicking it long, we call that kick and pray. You kick it long and you pray somebody's going to be at the other end to receive it. But I just love that Netherlands-Spain game just because I'm a Van Persie fan and I thought it was great. I like Robin too. I really, really liked the Mexico and Brazil game. I mean, after getting the the Iran and was it Nigeria that had 0-0 and nobody actually played or something like that?
Yeah.
To get the 0-0 of Brazil and Mexico was incredible. I mean,
it was the best deadlock game I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It was like
really good.
It could have been 5-5 and it would have been as good.
It would have. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't disappointed that it was 0-0, but I agree. It could have been, 2-2, 1-1. But to just give praise to the keepers. They did their jobs. The defense did their job, and the strikers took shot after shot after shot. And it just didn't happen for them. But that was just a game where two teams just wanted it so bad, and it was just a really good game.
Ochoa is going to get a big contract from that game.
I would think so too.
Yeah.
He's a free agent now, but he won't be for long. He will be playing for a big club.
Yeah,
so.
Suarez is going to get a contract too from somebody because Liverpool. I don't know if they're going to want him back, but he's got several teams looking at him. They want to sign him.
If I would be a Liverpool fan, I would just hope they would sell him for like 80 million pounds and just be done with this.
Yeah.
This is the second season in a row he's coming into the season with a ban for biting people. You know, that's just scary to have a person like that in playing. It's just crazy. And it's just you never know. You never know with a player like that. And he should have something like that on his face because I don't understand. Why doesn't he just charge him for assault? Why don't they charge him for assault? He assaulted a man. It doesn't matter if it's on the pitch if he bites people.
Yeah.
It's just
You get braces.
That'd be worse.
Yeah.
Then they'd get stuck in the braces.
Yeah, his teeth are still in me. I can't get away. No red card. I didn't see it.
Okay.
No, but
it's crazy.
Like
Go ahead, Daniel.
That kind of braces, like that kind of braces.
Yeah.
Kind of braces that nerds, the really nerdy guys that have outside the mouth, like that would be at least a shaming. So I don't know if it would work, but for the try.
Yes. And you know what's crazy is the guy who gets bit reacted realistically, right? It hurt like the dickens, but he didn't fall on the ground and cry like a little girl like he would have done if Suarez had barely touched his elbow.
Yeah, he showed the referee the bite, and the referee just said, that could have been anything. That could have been a ball. Maybe there was something on the pitch. It was so obvious that he was bitten. What else could that have been? He was as sincere. The thing that really surprised me is he says the ban is too harsh. The man who got bitten says that it's too harsh, and he's feeling for Suarez's family. It was a weird statement, but I also understand it. He's under really much. He's.
I don't think his family's going to be hurting. I think they're going to be.
They're used to this.
Yeah, they're probably used to the ban. Oh, it's time to cut back a little bit on this.
Yeah.
Expensive meals.
Yeah, Thanksgiving dinner is probably very weird in the Suarez household. It's just like they don't eat turkey; they eat each other.
That's the Lecters.
Bunch of Hannibal Lecters.
Yeah.
Hannibal Lecters.
Well, he left us. Why did Dwaine leave us? Let's see.
Maybe Suarez ate him.
Suarez showed up at the front door, so he's running.
Yeah.
Let me read this. Like I talked about before, nobody outside of South America has won a South American World Cup. I think that's pretty interesting. I wonder if it is a climate thing.
Probably is.
Do y'all know which country has been to the final 3 times and lost every time? And the America,
Netherlands.
Netherlands, exactly. Because in the United States, we'd call them the Buffalo Bills. They go to the Super Bowl and never win, but they always show up and
it's so, especially in their great years when they had Van Basten and they had Gullit and all those players, they got to the finals. Those were their golden years, and they still lost in the final. And I don't know if they will get an era like that. Maybe this after 4 years, their whole defense plays for Feyenoord. Only one player doesn't play for Feyenoord in the Netherlands, and that's a former Feyenoord player that plays for Aston Villa. So those are all really young players, except for Vlaar, that will be great after 4 years, and I think that could be their time. Depay and all those players will shine at the next World Cup. If they don't win this one, I think they're likely.
Yeah, they could be the next Spain, because I always thought that was one of Spain's great advantages, was that they're all mostly Barcelona. They mostly come from that team, and if they're not, they're on Madrid.
Yeah. That's the difference between this Netherlands team and the other Netherlands team that we have seen. Is this is such a unified team. You can just see they're together. And the thing that has always been bad about the Netherlands team is the morale hasn't been good. There are so many superstars, so many players that just can't work together. They're all prima donnas who need their space and don't want to talk to other people and think they're better than everybody else. And that doesn't work. And when they have these many young players that have the technique and still are good, then you have a good team.
So I think Germany's in the same. Yeah, go ahead, Daniel.
Oh, and that's pretty much the opposite happens to previous world champions like Spain and I think Italy last World Cup and France and pretty much Brazil too. I think they get over. Morale has been too good. I mean, they become sort of divas and all-star teams, and they just don't function. So I think that's the opposite also happens.
I also look for that in leadership within the team, because I think Germany is one of those teams where there are guys on that team that'll knock you on your backside if you get too big for your britches. And they govern themselves, I think, very well. I think Lahm is part of that, and Schweinsteiger and those guys. But I think Germany is another one that benefits like Netherlands do, because most of them playing for Bayern. They come from that team, and they know each other that well. They put in a few more all-stars, and it's just another powerhouse of a team.
Almost every single player in the Germany team could be the captain. They're all leaders, and they all know how to play for a team. And most of them play for a team that it just isn't an option to be an individual. Like Bayern, you have to play for a team. Nobody's bigger than Bayern. Right. And also like Mertesacker, Özil, and Podolski play for Arsenal. Mm-hmm. Every big player that starts to complain that they're at Arsenal, they go away. Because I'm an Arsenal fan, so I'm talking about Arsenal also.
Well, I'm a Wenger fan. I like him. I think he's a really good coach.
And it's just, you can't have a player that's bigger than the team. I've never understood that that clubs are holding players against their will at clubs. They won't put their all in for the team if they don't want to be there.
Yeah.
You have to have passionate players who want to play for your team more than just be the team.
And that comes from a captain, and it also comes from a coach. That's why I'm really hopeful, because I don't think Moyes was ever going to get that from Manchester United. He was unfortunate is what he was. So then you bring in somebody like Van Gaal, and I think it's going to be a different thing. You see it on the Netherlands. Like you said, those guys are there. If somebody has the thing about soccer is if one player has a bad day, 10 people got to step up and play for him. They got to help them. They got to push them. They got to lift them up. That's the great thing to me about soccer. That's what I tell the girls. You can have a bad day, but your teammates can't. And then when they have the bad day, you got to step up and take care of them.
You can't be like all in the same place. Like Russia, they all play exactly the same. They're playing in the same league, the same hard league. Russia is such a big country. They're making trips across Russia that are almost as long as from Iceland to Germany or something, just in their own league. So they all are in the same fatigue, and that doesn't work, because if one is bad, then everybody's bad. If one is good, then that's good, but that doesn't really happen that often.
Yeah. I think that's also part of Mexico's success, is that a lot of those guys play together. As Dos Santos, I think, plays overseas, and I know Chicharito does, but for the majority of them, they're all Mexican League players, and the coach is a Mexican League coach. And I think that's one of their bonding points, is that they all know each other all year long. That's what surprised me about Spain. Those guys know each other so well, but I don't know. It's like they were just missing.
Weirder.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I think it's just they were still playing players that were too old. Casillas, he just shouldn't have gotten the chance. Xavi is just getting old. He should go somewhere to America. He should play for somewhere in America instead of being still at Barcelona and playing for Spain.
He won't be there next year. He's either going to, I think, to Egypt, or he's coming to America.
Yeah, I think it's something like that. I just think they were trusting in players that just don't have it anymore, and they should have taken young play. They should have played Cazorla more. He played the one game, full game, and he was great. They should have had the team that played Australia play all the games, because that was a cohesive team, not the other.
I didn't see that game. Was Koki playing that game as well?
What did you say?
Did Koki play against Australia as well?
Yeah, he played that game.
And to me, I think Iker's great. He's had a history of being great, but he never should have played the second game.
He hasn't played for 2 seasons.
I know. He's been sitting since Moreno sat him down. So, De Gea's sitting there on the bench as the best keeper in the Premier League, and he's sitting over there not doing anything.
Yeah, he has been sitting on a bench for 2 years. It's just, I think he would still be a good player if Mourinho would not have put him on the bench.
Yeah.
And I think it would just Mourinho making a statement at Real Madrid, just telling you that nobody's indispensable. But I just think his career as a top keeper is over, and he should just continue to sit on the bench at Real.
Unfortunately, I think the Spain defense is looking like the Barcelona defense, which has got a lot of holes in it. But anyway, we're going backwards. We should probably move forwards.
We're talking.
Who do you think comes out of the group stage, other than Colombia and Brazil? But who do you think comes out? I'll go first. Out of the group stage is the dominance. I think it's France. I think they're riding a very confident high right now. I think it's the Netherlands from going 3-0, and I think it's Germany. I mean, now I haven't looked at the bracket to see when they'll meet up or where they're going to meet. But I think France, the Netherlands, and Germany are the three. This will be the year that somebody outside of South America wins the World Cup in South America.
I actually, yes, I agree, because the teams from South America that have been playing well are the teams that aren't really that big. Argentina and Brazil haven't really been playing up to their level.
Yeah.
But teams like Chile, who really played their heart out at this World Cup and really deserved more than they got.
Yeah.
And Colombia also, who are playing fantastically. I think they're too inexperienced to win the cup. But I really agree. I think it's France, Netherlands, and Germany who really. Actually, France and Germany are probably going to play in the final 8. So either of them are getting out there. But I actually thought it was pretty unfortunate how the final 16 games went down, because it's almost all the games are a good team against a bad team or a worse team. It's like Germany, Algeria. It's really hard for Algeria to win Germany, and also France, Nigeria. Nigeria and Algeria are both playing well, but they're not going to win these big teams. I think the only small team that's going to get to the final 8 is Costa Rica, and I think they're going to get.
Because they're playing Greece.
Yeah.
Yeah. Greece is the worst team to qualify to the final 16 in the history.
Tell us what you really think.
They scored 2 goals.
Right. And one of them was a gift.
And one of them was from a penalty. They wouldn't have gone through. Cote d'Ivoire or Ivory Coast, they should have gone through. They were playing so well.
I really wanted to see Ivory Coast go through. They got a lot. I like Drogba. I'm a Drogba. I'm not a Chelsea fan, but I like Drogba. I would really like to have seen that team go through.
You can't not be a Drogba fan. He's just such a good figure.
Yeah.
As he's just a good representative for football in all ways. But also just this is the last of this golden generation that Ivory Coast has. You know, Yaya Toure is going to be 34 when the next World Cup is. And also with Drogba, he will be 40. He won't be playing.
Yeah, he won't be back.
All these players, they won't really have those X factors that they had. And it's just sad that it's over, that they never could get through the group stage with this team.
Yeah. What do you think, Daniel? Who comes out of the group stage looking really good?
I think I agree with the 3 of them, Netherlands, Germany, and France. I don't think they might necessarily win because it's full of surprises.
Yeah.
But who knows? I mean, Brazil might come out on top in the end. I don't like the way they're playing right now. But I think these 3 are the best teams to make it out of the group stage.
Yeah, if Brazil and Argentina get better with the players that they have and the coaches that they have, they'll definitely have a chance at the end because they're so loaded.
Match.
Yeah,
huh?
It's a possible final match.
Yeah, is it really a semifinal? Okay. Either one of those guys could be there if they continue to improve, and that's to me what comes from the World Cup. The more you play, obviously, the better you're going to get.
I actually think that Argentina have kind of an easy way to get to the semifinals. They play now Switzerland, and then they play either USA or Belgium. So they're probably getting through to the semifinals. But they haven't played those big teams that test their defense. They got 2 goals scored against them from Nigeria, and Nigeria couldn't even score against Iran. So they have a really bad defense. They have a goalkeeper that doesn't even get into the team at Monaco. So they really just don't have the defense to win. And I just think that they will get to the semifinals, and then they will lose to Netherlands in the semifinals. That's my prediction.
What about you, Dwaine? Who do you think came out of the group stage looking strong?
I don't know, man.
USA.
Yeah. I want to get to the results of our picks.
All right, we'll do that, and then we'll talk about those chances. The results of the first round, the group stage, was really good because it was close. We actually had a tie. Let's see. In last place is... Now, who is that? Oh, that's... Okay, last place with 7 points was Dwaine. Well done. You picked 7 out of the 6.
You got 7 points?
You got 7 points.
Wait. How do I get a point? Like every person I said was going to go through?
We all picked who we thought was going to be the 16 to qualify. And out of the 16, you got 7. So in school, that wouldn't even be 50%. Because I got 50% with 8. I got 8 out of the 16 that we're going through.
I got 7.
Which is not much to brag about because the SCA 9000 also got 8. So you got one less than a machine.
But it's a magical machine.
That's right.
By the way, we have lost coach. I'm not sure what happened.
Yeah.
Hopefully we didn't bore him to death. Hopefully he had an internet problem.
Yeah. There was a 4-way tie for second place with 9. Got 9 out of 16, and you two know who you are. Dee Dee, who sent in her picks, along with my daughter Gracie, as well as Sindri and Daniel. Each got 9 out of the 16. Okay. And we also had a 10-point tie for the most correct picks between Will, for whoever he stole his picks from.
He probably just paid some
he went online and took the random sample of all the experts' predictions and just went with those picks. But the other person that probably didn't do that and actually picked because he knows them is Coach. Coach also got 10 out of 16. So we're going to continue with these. into our picks for the knockout stage. And at the end of these 4 games, I'm going to email you guys again to send in more picks, and we'll do those.
Yes.
And keep the tally going to the end, so hopefully we can catch up with these people. Will cannot win this contest.
No.
We're not letting him win.
No. I will lose his picks or whatever it takes. He will be finished.
Yes.
So.
Oh, by the way, how is it? How? Try to make sure I pronounce her name right. Haldora.
Haldora Jonasdottir. She's my mother.
She's your mom?
She's my mom.
Oh well, I won't say what I was going to
Hi,
say.
Mom.
She didn't come for us. She just wanted to see her baby on TV. That's right, on the internet.
Well, she posted on YouTube. Dwaine is yawning a bit. Well, I'm sorry.
Yeah, she's also into soccer, so it's not just.
Yeah.
That's because the 3 of us got onto a kick about players and clubs and other stuff. So
Y'all
that's why I said
talk
we're backtracking. We got to go forward.
Y'all talk so much. Coach left.
No,
Yeah,
he was gone before we did that.
So Will posted, David, I watched Chile or Chile, as you said,
Chile.
versus Brazil today. Question: why didn't anybody use their hands? Opposable thumbs are awesome.
He obviously understands soccer really well. So.
And he also read Ann Coulter's piece, which I wish people that don't know anything about soccer wouldn't comment about soccer. But at
He's
least
also-
you admit it.
He's the expert, so he's probably right.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna say who's going into next, or who we picked for the next 4 games.
I'll call the games real quick, and does anybody want to predict Chile over Brazil, or we'll just skip these 2? Okay,
I
we know what it is.
predicted Brazil over Chile. Did anybody?
No.
I think
I
everybody
predicted both
picked
games
Brazil.
right.
Yeah, I think everybody picked Brazil except for the SCA 9000. That went with Chile.
That actually wasn't a bad pick. Chile really were close.
No, it wasn't. They took
hit
it
the
to penalty
crossbar
kicks.
in the last minute. They hit the crossbar. They could have been through, and Brazil could be on its head in a bad way.
I think if it doesn't hit the crossbar or hits it in the right direction, I think Daniel's not here right now.
The whole of Brazil would be blown up. It would be burning. It
Yes.
would be crazy.
Yes. Sindri,
I was shaking during the game.
I'm not.
I bet you were.
I was shaking. I was dehydrating. That was a nightmare.
But I didn't have a pick in that game one way or the other. But when it got to the penalty kicks, my stomach started hurting. I hate penalty kicks to the side of the game because I've been there for tournaments and I've won and I've lost. But gosh, I know why Caesar was crying, or why he was getting choked up because gosh, this whole tournament. It's not like we're in the group stage. This is it, and it's got to go to stinking penalty kicks.
And he did really well in the penalty kicks.
Well, you also got to say the penalty kick takers stunk.
Yeah, those were terrible penalties. Did you see? Williams' penalty kick was one of the worst I've ever seen. He waited. He did well. He waited for the goalkeeper to choose his side, but then he just passed it off the field.
To give you a reference, Dwayne, these guys are millionaires, and you can't hit a goal with the penalty. I don't even care if you hit the keeper. Make them make a save, and the guy missed the whole goal. I'm sorry. That frustrates me to no end.
When the goalkeeper saves, at least you can say that the goalkeeper did well, but not. But when you shoot off goal, then you can't do anything. You're just you're humiliated forever.
It's like a pitcher hitting a mascot and not even hitting the catcher. Come on. You got to do better. Tomorrow we've got Netherlands and Mexico, which I think is going to be awesome.
I picked
that's going to be a great game. Oh my God.
What'd you pick, Dwayne?
Mexico.
Mexico with the upset, and I picked Netherlands.
Me too.
Bill Dennison says, Sindri, your mom is hot.
Oh, thank you. No, don't talk like that.
Will, keep it down, Will.
That's right.
All right. Yeah, I picked Mexico. Who did you pick, Sindri?
I picked the Netherlands. I just went for the safe pick.
Yeah. I think they're going to wear them down at some point. They're going to do better.
Daniel also?
Also,
Daniel?
I picked Netherlands because it's safe pick.
Yeah, safe pick. Daniel, who'd you pick in Costa Rica versus Greece?
Costa Rica.
Did anybody pick Greece? I think it's the question.
I actually think that's not a bad pick. You have to realize that Costa Rica were playing as underdogs the whole time. They were playing against amazing teams that they could just defend against and wait for the counterattack and know that they would be not on their guard. But Greece, they're like the most defensive team you can find, so it will be really interesting to see how they develop their game against Greece. But this could really be the game that is detrimental because Costa Rica just haven't played against a team like Greece yet, and we don't know how they cope.
Costa Rica blew through their group, and Greece is the team that probably shouldn't be there, which makes Greece the team that has fate on their side. You know, this could be one of those games where it just falls at Greece's feet. You know, and all they got to do is finish it. So you're right. Greece would be a good pick in this situation. Yeah,
the funny thing is that Greece are the underdogs in this game. Everybody's expecting Costa Rica to win this game now, and that could really hurt them. That could actually hurt them.
No, Dwaine liked Greece's flag better, so he's going with Greece.
Really? Costa Rica's flag is much better.
Actually, you're right. Why did I pick Greece's flag over Costa Rica's?
You probably picked it because
let me double check here.
I sent you that form where Greece is actually ranked number 12 by FIFA, and Costa Rica's 28.
I didn't look at that.
That's just the FIFA
That's
ranking.
just garbage. I'm sorry.
They don't make sense.
No,
when Switzerland is at 6 and France is at 17, you can't trust a list like that.
No,
it just goes from what team you're like. Switzerland, they were in the worst qualifying group. Iceland was in second place. How bad can your group be? We don't have a great team. We
don't even have graphs in Iceland.
They don't even have 11 players. They have 9.
It's all ice.
We actually have great facilities here. We really do. But
that's
Iceland,
what I want to know is how could Japan have a soccer team? They could barely fit in their cities.
They probably just found an island somewhere and play there.
Yeah.
They have like a soccer island.
Well, this was not the year for the Asian teams, and they consider Russia and Iran and Japan and Korea, obviously that group. Not one of them qualified.
All right.
But it was the first time for 2 African countries to qualify. What about France and Nigeria?
Oh, obvious, Nigeria.
That's so obvious.
Are we putting money on that? Yeah, France being ranked 17 right now is obviously why these rankings don't matter much because they're so much stronger.
I actually think this is the most straightforward game in the whole in the whole knockout stage. I just think Nigeria just aren't strong enough. France have such better defense than any of the team they were playing against in the group stage, and I just don't think they have the technique and the tacticality to win against a team like France. The African teams, they just don't have the tactical skills to win in these big games.
But the French guys are distracted by Amore, and the African guys do nothing but play soccer all day.
No, they don't. They don't.
I don't know.
I'm going Nigeria by 2.
Daniel, is he close or is he off?
I don't know. I think it's way off.
Way off. Okay.
I think it's a bit off.
But here's the thing: you shouldn't underestimate your opponent. So I don't think you should be 100% sure that France is going to win because who knows?
Yeah.
I mean,
that's right.
I think it's physical. So they have a pretty strong physical play. Maybe France feels intimidated by that.
I don't think that it will. I don't think it will be like a 5-0 game, but I actually think that the French team 4 years ago, they would have flunked this game because they would be too confident.
Right.
But the French team this year, they're just too focused. They need to redeem the name of just France in football. France, their league, the French league. The French league has dropped so many places in the last few years. Also, the French team, the French players, they just aren't rated at the same level anymore as like 10 years ago. They were the best, but now they're they're not even close to the Germany and all those.
Well, it's
countries.
PSG and then everybody else, right? Because they buy all the players and then everybody.
Yeah, it's
else.
just PSG. They have all the players, and then the rest is distributed.
Yeah. I think France Nigeria is going to be like Colombia Uruguay today. I think once France scores, it's going to be like broken windows, and
Domination.
France is going to put in two or three more.
Nigeria need to score an early goal if they want to.
If they want any chance, you're right.
They will get
They
two
need to make a
strikes.
statement.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Exactly. That's a
They
good
need to come
point.
into the
They can
game,
make a statement.
They need to be focused. They need to think about their defense. They need first and foremost their defense, and then just use the counters. They have fast wingers. They have Musa, and they have either Moses or the other player that plays the last game, and then they have Emenike in front. That's so physical. Nobody's gonna push him away from the ball.
That was what impressed me about Chile today, and that they didn't play like their lives were dependent on it. They just kept playing. The way
they played their game.
the goal came to them, so that was I was impressed.
I actually thought Chile was better than Brazil today.
I think they were in the second half. They were definitely better in the second half.
They were better, but here's the thing: the first half, Brazil was a lot stronger.
Yes.
Yeah.
In the second half, they didn't really represent a threat. I mean, they should be like stupid. The Chile goal was a stupid mistake from Brazil.
Right.
So I don't really think they ever represented a threat. So I don't know. I don't think they were quite strong.
Yeah, I think we've
honest.
covered it in this podcast that I think what y'all said about Brazil wasn't as unified in the second half as they were in the first half. I think
Yeah,
that
also,
did-
I
First 20 minutes.
Chile's manager really did great in the halftime. He obviously talked to the players, just told them you need to close down Neymar more. He can't get that space. You can't give Hulk space because he will eventually trip over the ball. But Neymar can't get space. It's just and you can give Fred and Joe as much space as you want because they will never get the ball.
All right.
It was just crazy. They
the other
never
game-
got the ball.
I know the other game on Monday is Germany and Algeria, and I think Algeria already has their plane at the stadium to go home. So what do y'all think? Does Algeria have any chance against Germany?
I actually think they do.
Really?
I don't think they will, but I think they do have a chance, and they have a great defense. They have such a unified team, and they really could do something. I don't think they will win, but I don't think this will be a straightforward game. I think this will be a nail biter.
Really?
Yeah, I
What do you
think
think,
so.
Daniel?
I think I saw them playing against Korea, and that was tough to watch. I mean, Korea was struggling all the game. I mean, we can't compare Germany to Korea, but anyways, I think Algeria has a really strong game. Maybe not enough to beat Germany, but I don't know. They might scare them. I mean, that's something.
Yeah, they have really fast wingers, and they play great attacking football. They play the 5-2-3 strategy.
Yeah.
And that really works well for a team that is trying to do the counterattack. They have the five defenders, then they have their playmakers in midfield that get the ball onto the flanks to Brahimi and Feghouli, and they get the ball to Slimani, who holds the ball up and gets the ball to the fast wingers, and then they're through. But the thing that's bad for Algeria is that Germany don't play with fullbacks. They play with 4 center backs,
Right.
and they won't be getting behind Havertz and Jerome Boateng. They never go up, so
Right.
it will be really, really hard for Algeria to get through the defense.
Yeah, they don't have a lot of attack from the back. But I think with Algeria, it's going to be like with Nigeria. If they can score early, they can scare them and then start finding holes and possibly score again.
Yeah, I think if Algeria score, I think Germany are too good to get desperate. But I actually think that if Algeria score, they could hold Germany for a while from the goal.
Yeah,
but
like
I
Daniel
think
said, they're physical and they're fast. They can definitely do that.
yeah, and then they would be getting desperate. They would put fullbacks on instead of Boateng and Havertz. Then they
Right.
would be pushing much more forward. And Hummels and Mertesacker are not fast center backs. They're actually really slow. So if they have their fullbacks up, it will be easy for fast players like Brahimi and Fegoli to get behind
To counter,
the defense.
yeah. Exactly.
It will
At
be.
the end of the day.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
No,
Go ahead,
no,
David.
no. Continue. I was done.
Oh, at the end of the day, it's much more of a mental game than a physical game.
Yeah.
I mean, they need to make a statement from the get-go. They can't really delay anything, because then Germany will dominate the game, and that, you know what happens.
Yeah, I agree, because if you can't wait till late to score against teams like Germany or France, if you can hit them early when they're just getting their feet wet, you might have a much better chance of making them step out of their comfort zone to try and get it back in, because this is a
you have
knockout
to come
game.
out strong.
Yeah.
Right,
Soccer
exactly.
is it's that's a great point, Daniel. It's all about the mentality, and you just can look at players like Torres. He was the best striker in the world, but then he just lost all of his confidence, and he can't play football anymore. No, soccer. So it's all about the mentality, and if you have confidence, that beats quality all day, every day.
That's what happened for the USA against Ghana. When
Yeah.
Dempsey scored in so many seconds, Ghana said, "What just happened?" And the USA said, "Hey, we could actually play with this. We can do something with this." So you're right. On Tuesday, we got the first game.
Hey.
What?
Hey.
Do you actually have something matter, or what are you saying?
What, Dwayne? You're still there?
I picked
All right,
Germany.
Dwayne, which flag is going to win, Germany or Algeria?
I picked Germany. You may go on.
Okay. All right,
But
Dwayne?
Algeria's flag is more cool.
I know, but I picked Germany because I actually think they're going to win.
Oh, he's thinking football now. He's not thinking flags. Okay.
Ah.
All right. What about Tuesday, Dwayne? Argentina and Switzerland.
Switzerland.
Number 5 and number 6. You're going with Switzerland.
I am.
Wow.
I don't know
Wow.
why.
He wants to be different. What do you think, Daniel? Argentina or Switzerland?
I don't think Argentina is going to win this year, so I don't know. I think Switzerland might scare them, might even beat them. Who knows? I mean, I thought Brazil and Chile today was going to be an easy match, and it wasn't. So
Yeah.
I think the Argentina should look out. They should look out for Switzerland, definitely.
If I had to pick one team or one guy that I think could carry a team, it would be Messi.
And he's not
Yeah.
doing it.
And I
It's just
think
not working.
it's not, but he's got them through. They went through on his left foot, And I think I think he'll get past Switzerland. After that, I don't know, but I think
Yeah,
he'll
but they
get
got
past
a
Switzerland.
really easy group. I mean, they got
They
a
did.
really easy group.
I
The
agree. Which
easiest. I mean, I
this-
think the easiest group.
they could be the team that gets better with time, because they're going to have to. Because if they don't get better than they were in the first 3 games, they're going to go out pretty quick.
Yeah.
What do you
Yeah.
think, Sindri?
I actually think that this will maybe surprise people, but I think Switzerland and Argentina are really similar teams in many ways. They have their defense that can be solid, but if you have the right plan against them, they can just break to pieces. And Iceland scored 4 goals against Switzerland to get a 4-4 draw. They're both really fragile at the back, but they also have really great attackers. And I think that this will be a very open game. I think we will have more than 4 goals in this game. And I actually think that I think Switzerland can really score 2 or more goals against Argentina, just simply by the fact that they don't really have fullbacks, and and Switzerland have fast attackers with Shaqiri and Dermich, who are always gonna make trouble for any team.
Right.
So I think
That's
this
it.
will be close.
I'm really looking forward to this game. I thought
Yeah.
Di Maria was probably the best player in the Champions League, and he hasn't been here yet. He just hasn't stepped up like I thought he would. But that's also the team coming together, trying to play in this new tournament, not new tournament, but in this, what I'm saying, in this sudden tournament with these players that he hadn't been playing with all year. So the second game, of course, is that USA team against that Belgium team.
Yeah. I actually think one thing with Argentina, I think they should just make a few changes with the lineup. They have players that just really aren't functioning well in this tournament, like Agüero and Higuain. They're both really, they feel like they're heavy. They feel like they can't move their feet as lightly as they usually do. So I think they should just take those players off the field because they're just in the way right now.
I think Aguero's going to be off the field. Isn't he hurt?
Yeah, I think he's hurt. But I also think they should put another striker on instead of Higuain, because he's too physically just bad. He just doesn't have the physicality against defenders like Giroud and Schär. They just are too strong for Higuain. They need a strong man up front to hold the ball. But I don't know who that should be. I really don't.
Well, who's going to win between Belgium and USA?
It's open. It's an open match. I mean, I don't really think Belgium. I think USA can absolutely beat Belgium. I'm not impressed with Belgium. Honestly, I just don't think it's a strong team. I don't know why they were in the cove for the. I don't know. I don't know why they're. I think they're overrated. To be honest, I think they're overrated.
They definitely are overrated.
They benefit from a weaker side. Everybody actually picked them. I think they were one of the unanimous picks to get through the group stage.
I picked the USA.
But at the same time, I think Belgium definitely benefited from a group that just wasn't a death group. You know, there was no big names in there, and it just
the weakest group.
Yeah, but they do have a lot of good players. But it could be another situation where they're not coming together. Whereas USA, I think they have been coming together and getting better. But as long as USA plays wide, I think they have a chance. They just can't get stuck in the middle because we don't do well in the middle.
Yeah. I actually think that USA is Belgium's worst nightmare. USA have such a good defense, a great unified defense, and they all play defense. There's absolutely no player that just sits back and waits for the ball. Right. They're all playing defense, and I don't think the strong suit for USA is definitely not their attack. And I think that we have seen in other games that Belgium really gets frustrated and out of ideas when they can't play their game. And I actually think that Klinsmann is such a good tactician that he will get they will try to annoy the Belgian players. They will try to get them riled up, and they won't be able to play their game. And I actually said that I think Belgium will go through, but I'm actually starting to second guess that decision because I just think that USA are more cohesive.
I think one thing that's going to hurt USA is that Belgium is a late-scoring team.
Yeah.
Their substitutes are good, but they score late, and we give up goals late. I don't know if it's conditioning or what it is, but I think that's something that's going to help Belgium and hurt us.
But also, the USA are known for not giving up. I mean, I've seen some games, and they score literally in the last minute, so it's an open game to the last minute.
Right.
There's no really.
Well, even in Portugal, I don't think we gave up. We just got beat to the ball. You know, we had that whole back line was chasing that striker.
I mean, 5 minutes. What the hell is that?
I actually didn't.
Long time.
I actually didn't see that many of. I actually think I just saw one of the USA games because there's a stupid station here in Iceland that took all the USA games and had them locked on a station because there's an Icelandic player in the team. Right. So they got some games and they're playing it on their station, and they don't allow other people to see the games. So I had to watch them on a German station or something, but I couldn't catch all of them. But I actually think that getting Altidore back, he always is good for USA. He was terrible for Sunderland, but he always delivers for the USA. So I think getting him back will be crucial in this game.
Now, I heard today if he did come back, it would only be for a short spell, so he might come off the bench.
Yeah.
If anything. That's what I heard this morning.
Yeah.
All right, so are you guys... I'm sorry.
I picked USA.
I'm actually going against my own people here, and I don't think they should play Aron Johansson alone up front. He just doesn't have the physicality. They should play him on the wing. If they need to attack, they should put him on the wing instead of Jones. And he is a fast player. He's a technical player, but he can play alone up front in the Netherlands League, but he can't in the World Cup.
No, I agree. Completely agree. I think Dempsey is actually a good replacement for Altidore. I think he's been doing well. He's much more physical. Now, are you guys still satisfied with your overall? Because I'm not. Argentina was my overall pick, and I'm not satisfied with that anymore.
I have Germany.
I had Spain for crying out loud.
So, Daniel, are you sure you're not satisfied with your pick?
I would still pick Spain. I would still pick Spain if I were you.
There's another tournament next month. You never know.
Yeah. They could. The World Cups could suddenly be implanting twist like Survivor, so they could just put a twist in like.
Pull out their elimination group idol.
The Outcasts. The Outcasts 2.0.
The
Spain are back. Spain are back, and they will lose more games.
Bye. Dwayne, who was your pick to win the whole thing?
Portugal.
Yeah, you probably don't like
that. That's a great pick.
So I changed it to USA.
Oh, rah. Way to go.
That's right.
I actually think
No, go ahead.
I actually think this World Cup has been so unpredictable that nothing is impossible. And I think, USA is just as good of a pick as anything else because I don't think anything is more likely than the other.
I agree.
Yeah, of course you do.
I'm going to take a leap of faith here, and I'm going to still pick Brazil because I have to support my country. I have to support my country.
Yes.
Unless,
we're at home. We're hosting this thing, so.
If you would have said something else, some Brazilian would see this and they would hunt you down.
Yes.
If I was repicking, I'd probably go with Germany.
You're picking your words well.
That's right. That's right. But I got to stay with my original pick, and I'll go with Messi. See if he can get it done this year.
Yeah. And this is getting down to the wire, and this is getting crazy. And it will just get more crazy the more the stress comes in to the teams. The final stages of World Cup can break any team down.
Yep.
It's the strongest that still remains.
All right, David, you got anything else? We're coming up on 2 hours.
No, that was it. Getting to everybody's so happy with their final picks, and go from there because we're going to try and come back. What, a couple weeks or before the final?
Let's do it before the final.
Maybe we can do it before the Final Four. I think there's a break there.
Yeah.
Well, all right.
Sounds great.
So I have a joke. What's the difference between teabags and Englishmen?
They stay in the cup longer.
Teabags stay in the cup longer. Yes.
Daniel gets an extra point. Good job.
That's actually another surprise I felt from the World Cup. I thought this was the time for England to shine because there are so many young players that play for the same team that are coming out. But Roy Hodgson just is not a world-class coach, and they should really start finding someone else.
See, they're talking about him as the next World Cup coach, and I completely agree. They need to go in a different direction. Yeah,
they still need someone English, because I don't think that going somewhere else is the idea. But I just think they need to look outside of just the national team. They need to look at their league. They need to look at their youth systems and just change, because even the youth systems in England, they have foreign players. The best players that are coming out of the youth system in England are still from Spain and Germany and stuff like that. They need to put money into the youth systems, and they need to change the way that the English Premier League looks at their squads.
Mm-hmm.
It needs to go to the core.
Yeah.
They need to change something drastic. They can get Mourinho or anyone to train the team, but it won't change if they don't change it from the core.
Who was it that's already resigned? Was it the Italian coach?
Both the Italian coach and there was someone else, I think. There has been everybody's resigning now. It's just all of them are like, oh, I'm done with this.
Yeah, Klinsmann should get a bonus, but everybody else can resign. That's it, Dwayne. That's all I got.
All right, Will Dennison says, I pick Brazil. Still picking Brazil.
You stick with that.
Good for you,
says, Swiss are neutral, meaning they won't attack, meaning they won't score. Argentina wins on diplomacy alone. All right, y'all. So we want to thank you for listening to our World Cup podcast. Wish Coach hadn't had to leave, but apparently he had something come up. So he left about halfway through, but then we still had Daniel and Sindri, which was the original podcast to begin with, and it was really good. So I do want to say, if you want to catch our interview with Tony and Cass, if you're a Survivor fan, go back and listen to them. And then follow us on Twitter at Survivor_talk. You can follow David at David_STWDD. Daniel, do you want them following you on Twitter?
Absolutely. Follow me on TMI Daniel.
TMI Daniel. Too much information, Daniel.
Yeah, I'm just that loud.
Sindri, they can follow you.
Yes, just at Sindri_Snaer19. It's complicated.
Yeah, just look for ours and look where he's commented on them.
Yeah.
Select it and follow him.
You can see it in the World Cup tweets.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right.
If you really want to
Yeah.
follow somebody like me.
Yeah, if you want to, hey, you can say you follow an Icelander.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's
There
right.
are not many of us.
Iceland is a small country.
Yeah, it's not that small of an island, but we don't really use our land. It's just a big middle that just has mountains and volcanoes and stuff, and we're just at the edges. We're like Australia. We just use the edges. We don't need the rest.
It's
Somebody else take the rest.
Yeah.
Come with Japan. Japan can put their soccer there.
Yeah. Whoever discovered Iceland was really lazy and just went in about 20 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is good. This will do.
Yeah. Oh, this is fine.
I'm too tired. I've been looking for too long.
All right, music for tonight's show is... Oops, hold on. Messed up. I got permission, and it is this young lady. Where is it? Come on. I want to show the picture.
I can sing for you.
Hello. Her name is Anna Free. There it is. Her name is Anna Free. What happened to the picture? It went away again.
I see it.
Anyway, her name is Anna Free, and the song is "Kick It Up." I don't know if the song's any good, but the video's fun to watch. So enjoy. Actually, the song's pretty good. So that's our music for tonight's show.
And for the game of today,
I'll have a
Brazil
link
Chile,
to.
it was heart attack.
I'm glad you
All
survived.
right, I will take her picture off.
Me too.
There's her picture
Yeah, just
again.
leave that up, Dwayne. We don't need to see you anymore.
Yeah, y'all don't need to see me. You just want that on there.
Yeah, that's better than you, Dwayne.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you for listening, everybody. That's all I've got. How about you, Dave?
I'm good.
All right, we'll talk to you later, everybody. See ya.
See ya.
There you go. Bye.
Under the light of the sun, we're coming together to celebrate this heat. And we feel alright. The moment surrounds everyone, dancing the streets of Brazil to every beat. And we feel alright. Tropical nights and glorious days. Go out and shoot all your worries away. Don't you be shy, let the rhythm just play in your heart. Kick it up and run. Oh yeah, Jaga cara. When the whistle blows, it's on. Oh yeah, Jaga cara. Give it everything you got. Give it everything you got. Play, don't you ever stop. Out in the light of the moon, the boys and the girls on the beach under the stars. And a fire burns, the scent of perfume in the air, a dreamy symphony from the guitars. And a fire burns. Tropical nights and glorious days. Go out and shoot all your worries away. Don't you be shy, let the rhythm just play in your heart. Oh yeah, Jaga cara. Kick it up and run. Oh yeah, Jaga cara. When the whistle blows, it's on. Oh yeah, Jaga cara. Give it everything you got. Give it everything you got. Play, don't you ever. And the world will unite in the stadium lights. hear the crowd shouting out. Come on, raise your flags now. Here we go. Oh yeah, joga a cara. Kick it up and run. Oh yeah, joga a cara. When the whistle blows, it's on. Oh yeah, joga a cara. Give it everything you got. Give it everything you got.